Hey everyone! Today, we are talking about a massive shift that's happening right under our noses, completely changing how businesses get work done. It's all about no-code AI automation. We're going to break down how, right now in 2026, literally anyone can build some incredibly smart systems without ever having to touch a line of code. So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at what makes this AI stuff a true upgrade. Then, we'll get into why it feels like everyone is jumping on this train right now. After that, we hit a super important topic, workflows versus AI agents. Then we'll check out the tools you can use, and we'll wrap it all up with a solid 90-day plan to get you started.
Okay, let's kick things off with AI automation. To really get what's going on, you have to understand that this isn't just a tiny improvement on the old way of doing things. Nope, this is a whole different level.
And this slide just nails the difference. See, regular automation is, well, it's pretty dumb. It just follows a simple rule, right? If this, then that. It moves data. But AI automation? It's a thinker. It's a decision maker. Just look at that email example. It doesn't just move the complete email. It reads it, it understands how angry the customer is, it figures out the priority, it even drafts a reply and sends it to the right team. That's a huge leap.
So when you boil it all down, this is the key. We've moved from systems that just shuttle information around to systems that can actually understand that information and then act on it. It's the difference between having a simple conveyor belt and having a really sharp assistant who knows what to do.
So that's the what, but why now? What is it about 2026 that's made this whole thing explode? Well, it wasn't just one thing. It was actually kind of a perfect storm of three key things all hitting at the same time. First off, the AI models themselves, the brains behind the operation, the LLMs, they finally got good enough and reliable enough for actual business use. Second, the no-code platforms we already use, they started building AI features right into their core. And third, well, developers are expensive and hard to find. This created a massive need for tools that let regular ops folks build stuff that used to take a whole dev team weeks to create. Now, let's have a quick reality check here. No-code means you don't have to learn Python or JavaScript. It does not mean there's zero learning to do. These are powerful tools, so you got to give yourself a couple of days just to wrap your head around the basics. Things like triggers, actions, and how the data flows. And this number is why it all matters so much. We're seeing stats where 79% of leaders are convinced that AI automation is going to skyrocket their efficiency by over 25%. And this isn't just wishful thinking. We're seeing real case studies pop up where support teams are suddenly handling 60% more tickets, all because of this stuff. Okay, I need you to lean in for this next part. I'm serious. If you only remember one thing from our whole chat today, make it this. This is the single most important and honestly the most misunderstood concept in this entire space. The choice you make between building an AI workflow or an AI agent, it changes everything. It dictates the tools you'll pick, how much money you're going to spend, and how reliable your automations will be. You have to get this right from day one. It's absolutely critical. This table here breaks it down beautifully. So a workflow is like a detailed recipe that you write out, step by step. The AI is just one ingredient. An agent, on the other hand, is like giving a goal to a master chef. You don't give them the recipe, you just say, qualify this lead, and they figure out all the steps themselves. And pay close attention to the cost and failure modes. Workflows are predictable and cheap. Agents are super powerful, but man, they can get expensive and unpredictable real fast. So here's the big takeaway. My advice, start with workflows. Honestly, for probably 80% of what your business needs to do, a workflow is the right answer. The rule of thumb is this. If you can draw the process out on a whiteboard, it should be a workflow. That'll save you so much money and so many headaches. You save the agents for those really messy, unpredictable tasks where you can't map out the steps ahead of time. All right, now that we've got that crucial difference locked in, let's talk tools. I know, the landscape can feel a little crowded, but it really just boils down to a few main types and a few key players. So you've pretty much got three flavors to choose from. You've got your visual drag-and-drop builders like Make, which give you total control. Then you have prompt-based tools like Zapier AI, where you just describe what you want and it builds a first draft for you super fast. And lastly, there are text-based tools for writing simple rules. Honestly, for any serious business process, the visual builders are usually the way to go. And this table perfectly shows the trade-offs between the big three. Zapier, super easy, tons of app connections, but it gets pricey fast. Make is kind of the sweet spot for most power users. And then there's N8, which is by far the most powerful and the cheapest if you've got the tech skills to host it yourself. There's no single best tool, just the best tool for you and your team. I just want to pause on this for a second. $10 a month. With a tool like NN that you host yourself on a cheap server, you can run an incredibly powerful production-level setup for less than the cost of a Netflix subscription. I mean, that is just an insane amount of power for the price. Now, a quick word of warning on free plans. Most of them are just for kicking the tires. As you can see, the self-hosted version of NNN is really the only one that's ready for real work right out of the box for free. Make's free tier is pretty good for learning, but that's about it. Okay, let's pull all this together and make it actionable. It's time to go from knowing this stuff to actually doing it. So here is a proven, step-by-step plan to take you from zero to a real successful automation in just 90 days. But before you even think about opening one of these tools, you have to hear this. This is the #1 mistake I see people make. If you can't draw out your process on a napkin, you are not ready to automate it. Period. Trying to figure out your logic while you're building is just a recipe for disaster. And here's the roadmap to get it right. In the first month, just pick one boring, repetitive task. Your only goal is to make it work, and you have a human check every single thing it does. Month 2, you use that data to make it better and start letting it run on its own. Then, in month 3, you take everything you learned and do it again with a second task. You prove it works, then you scale. Finally, let's talk about how to avoid the common traps. The AI is going to give you messy, unstructured answers unless you tell it exactly what format you want. You're going to have weird edge cases, so you need a catch-all step that sends anything weird to a human. And please, please never, ever automate something you can't undo, like deleting a customer without a human approval step. Also keep an eye out for prompt degradation. That's when a model gets updated and your perfect prompt suddenly stops working as well. And this quote really gets to the heart of it all. Success here isn't about bragging that you have 50 automations. It's about having 3 or 4 that are absolute workhorses, rock solid, reliable, and always getting a little bit better. It's all about quality, not quantity. And that's pretty much it. The technology is here. It's accessible. It's affordable. The only real question left is, what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to automate a few little tasks here and there? Or are you going to think bigger and start to automate entire business outcomes? The choice is yours.